All right, welcome back. Well, with me in the studio is Mrs. Jimmy, and also we call Lydia Jimmy, if I will go by that narrative. You're welcome to Correro.
Thank you. It's my privilege.
All right, there's been this debate that is going on. Before you walked into the studio, we were having that debate, very strong one. Who
Okay.
does it better in leadership, especially in Nigeria, between the male and the female, going by your own assessments?
Well, there's nobody that does it better. I guess everybody just has their jurisdictions and they do best in their place of interest. You understand? So we cannot like put gender in place when we're talking about roles. So anybody that is good at something should do it, and they do it better. Then it is. These days we have better men at in the kitchen. Have you seen the chefs we have these days? Men, the best, right? So in leadership, I don't think it has to do with gender. I think it has to do with capacity. I think it has to do with, you having the ability to lead. And over the time, what even gives men advantage is that over the time, men have been trained to lead by culture, by religion, just by our natural upbringing. The men have been wired to lead, but the women have not been given that advantage. So any woman you see in the space of leadership has to break through a tide that is obviously resisting her. So that resistance alone is a disadvantage for her. So it's not a matter of who does it better. It's a matter of who is trained, who has been mentored, who have been put through the system to enable them lead.
All right. Just as a follow up to that debate and conversation, there's also this speculation that says that women are better off when it has to do with decision making. And as such, if we place women at the aim of affairs, even in leadership, they will come out fantastically well.
Yeah.
How correct is this assertion?
Well, when it comes to decision, women have an advantage because they have good intuition, right? But we know what powers good decision making is knowledge. I'm a like a trailblazer for knowledge. I encourage women to chase knowledge because if your knowledge is not knowledge, if your decisions are not knowledge backed up, no matter how sensitive you are with your intuition, you will make a mistake. You understand? So no matter how intelligent women are, now women are very intelligent. I will not push them off. Naturally, so if you give a man and a woman the same opportunity, right, they will naturally do better because they have an inner spirit that guides them, that they used to defend, that they used to protect. So they can use it to make decisions. You understand? But when they are not given the same opportunities in knowledge, in mentorship, you understand? So it puts them at a point of disadvantage in making decisions. So they don't have the necessary knowledge to make the best of decisions. So instead of us to be pushing for women to come into leadership, we should be pushing for women to be given opportunities to first train as leaders. You understand? To be mentored, to be leaders. Leadership is not something you just come into because you assume you have the capacity. Leadership is something you come into because you are trained to be a leader.
Well, let's try to look at this even from the Nigerian as it stands today.
Yeah.
Going by the number of ministers that have been able to feature
Yeah.
in this administration. 6 of them, it's approximately 7 of them so
Yeah.
far that have been able to. Can we say that this represents the strength of the Nigerian women when it has to do with leadership?
Yeah, it shows that the ones that are there have done their best. But there's an adage that says you cannot sweep a house with a single stick of broom. For us to know what women can actually do, we need to give them more opportunity. That's why the formula of the broom goes with the more the broom, the more we can see the impact on the cleanliness of the house. You understand? So I will always say the ones we have in power are doing very well, but their effects and impact will be felt if more women are given an opportunity to sit with them. You see, it's not so much can they do, honestly, in their affair because they are just a little. Like I said, you cannot use a stick of broom to sweep the house. Even if it's 10 stick of broom, it will make so much difference. But when you bring them together, even if one makes a mistake, because even the other gender makes as much mistakes as well. So we cannot say, oh, because this woman made a mistake and the other woman make they are human beings. We should give them the benefit of the doubt. We should not amplify their negativity. We shouldn't forget that they are, as much as the men make mistake, so also the women make mistake. But for us to actually know the capacity of women, we must give more women opportunity. From the record we are seeing, we have less women representing us in power, in leadership, in governance. And it doesn't even tell well of us. For a developing society, for what we're representing right now in the world, in Africa, we are called the giants of Africa. So if we are leading Africa in decision making, we should also lead them in the show that we have approved. We have approved that our women are excellent.
Well, let's travel through the shores of Nigeria right now, looking at taking it from the 6 geopolitical zones across the country. Can we say at this point, Nigerian women are ready for leadership? When you look at it even from the grassroots, taking it down to the taking it to the top of governance, are women ready for leadership in Nigeria?
They are pushing. There's a serious push.
So you were saying that they're not ready for leadership right now?
So, like I said, they are pushing. If you look at recently, more women have been featuring, buying tickets for positions, for governorship. Even I think there's one presidential election that we had a woman that attempted. They are pushing, but they need more. They need more. They need more help, mostly from the men.
Okay, so I'm asking that question in order to ask that there has been this controversy that says that the woman is meant for the kitchen in Nigeria, and as such, she does not even want to aspire for leadership. And this is what has brought the women to this point.
Yeah.
So I'm asking that in order to ask, how correct is this narrative that the Nigerian women as it stands 2025 are not even ready for leadership?
They are not ready.
And that's why they are not even vying for leadership positions
Yes.
across the country.
Yes, so I will agree with you because they are not wired for leadership. Leadership is a wiring because of the turmoil that comes with the pressure from the job, from the position. So, like for example, if you're contesting for governorship, presidential, the whole pressure, you need a level of tenacity in you to be able to face the pressure. But women are not even wired like that from the roots. They are wired to be laid back. So you cannot tell somebody that has been wired to just relax, eat your husband's money. It's not bad to eat your husband's money if he has money. Eat it. But you can still lead while eating your husband's money. You understand? So I normally ask my friends that are very laid back, and I ask them, do you think you are the best example for your daughter? For your female daughter? Do you think you are the best example for your female daughter? Do you think your daughter will one day wake up and look at you and say, I want to be like you? And most of them, no matter how wealthy they are, I have very wealthy friends, they take time to answer the question because they know they didn't make the best decision for themselves, getting laid back. Because these women have dreams, but they didn't have the strength to. Strength is not just inbuilt. Strength is trained. The zeal to pursue is trained. The zeal to drive harder. Even the men, you see, when they lose election, they go back a bit to recuperate, and you see their guys come to them, support them, give them one business or two, just to encourage them and buffer the heat. Even in business, to frontier a business takes a lot of, you need a lot of cushion. In the car, we say shock absorber. You understand? But women do not have. They don't have support cycles. Even in church, even in the religious church, mosques, whatever association they belong to, religious cycles do not support them when it comes to leadership. Then cultural cycles really support them. Because why? Over and over again, culture has passed for them to be laid back. So when we're not saying they should be forward, with what knowledge? They're not wired. Their mothers did not wire most of them like that. The women you see that are leading right now, the likes of Dr. Obi Kwesele, go and read their history. They had fathers that pushed them. They had husbands like Dora, late Mrs. Dora, God bless her memory. You will hear her say she had these are people that are backed up by either their fathers, their husbands. They had somebody standing behind and say, go, I'm here to support you no matter what comes your way. But not every woman has that. Let me tell you, I don't even think the problem of a woman is another man. I think it's another woman.
Okay, let's get that angle to the story.
Yeah. It might be controversial, but this is the truth. I have studied psychology well enough to understand that another woman will fight another woman for becoming for becoming something that she could not be. When you see a woman pushing for something and another woman sees that person, because she could not be it, you understand, she begins to resist that person for my own loss. That's why women should heal from trauma. I tell women, I say, when you see a woman doing something that you cannot do, the least you can do is to heal that trauma of yours that did not allow you become that and support somebody that is trying to be it. Women are bantering. They have this crab formula. They assume they are women supporting. It's a lie, oh. Women are the biggest enemies of women, not even men. It's a woman that will tell another man, don't mind her. Because if a woman is telling her husband, let's support this woman, it's one of us, we will have more men supporting women. Because do you know that every man listens to a woman, whether it's their mother, their wives, their sister, somebody, whether it's their girlfriend.
Side chick.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anybody, every man, the way a man is wired, the Jews will say men are useless. They have a word called say men are useless. But what they're trying to say is that men in themselves are frustrated. See, in the religious cycle, you will say a man is wired to be used, either for his family. So a man's drive is a woman. It's either his mother, his sister, or his wife. Somebody that he looks back to and say, no, this person cannot suffer, cannot be where they are now. So if that person they look up to says, support this woman, why would that man not support that woman? But women are standing behind men, resisting their fellow women. And that's why we are having less women in power, not because the men are not supposed to support, but because the men are not being pushed by the women in their lives to support another woman. Because these women in their lives could not become that thing. So they are using their husbands or the men in front of them to fight their fellow women.
Well, I like the point where you said that the women should eat the man's money. That one really caught my attention. It's not wrong to eat the man's money. By the way. All right. So let's look at the impact of all of this circle that we've tried to even highlight so far. The implication for the next generations of Nigerian. Are we saying at this point that come 2027 and subsequent elections, women automatically are already tied down, they're already handicapped, they're already pinned, and as such, we will be seeing more women coming out to even contest? What will be the implication for policies to drive women inclusion, even exclusion from the governance?
You see, nobody can tell you of somebody's pain like the person of the same gender. If you're going to make policies that affect women, the woman has to be there to tell you how it affects her. How are you making policies affecting the woman's mental health and they are all men on the table? Whereas this world is made up of both men and women. We're making policies affecting everybody without a particular gender. So the policies are not always balanced. We always get a revolt from society.
But what the women are not coming out to contest in the elections, and they are not coming out to show representation.
That's why we have.
Are we supposed to impose them? Or impose them on the men?
We're supposed to encourage them.
Okay.
We're supposed to everybody should go back and encourage the woman in your life. If every man goes back and encourages their sister, their mother, their girlfriend, their wives, you have encouraged at least one woman. And if everybody does that, we'll have more women coming out. And if every woman that doesn't have the strength to come out, encourage their husband in the front place, that any woman you see, because of me, support women. We have some men that support women. And if you listen to the reason why they support women, they will tell you, my mother, my sister. You understand? So every man's purpose, I'm telling you, for doing something is another woman.
All right, so we'll come back to that. But let's look at this conversation holistically. A lot of men will say that when a woman occupies a seat of leadership, she becomes bossy, she becomes domineering, and she becomes threatening. Yeah. And as such, it's not even encouraged for women to even occupy a seat of position.
Yeah.
How will you react to these all assertions?
So I won't say it's completely a lie, because women are reacting to long term of rejection, long term of being pushed away, long term of being sat upon. So when they are given opportunity to come and speak, that's why I was talking about trauma. they begin to react instead of to act. So instead of them to come up and do what they're supposed to do, they spend the first time, trying to pay back for all the times they were bullied before they got into power, trying to, everybody that told them you cannot become and everything, they begin to try to, just try to prove a point instead of to come to office and do what you're supposed to do. So thereby, they will give the office a bad name and thereby shutting the door against other women from coming to that space. So it's true. I won't say it's completely a lie, because the natural wiring of a woman is to react to whatever a man has done to them. Most women, I can tell you, walking on the street is going to react to something. Most women you see are traumatized. So I advise women, before you go into seeking power, seek therapy. It will help you behave better. And when you behave better in power, you will give other women opportunity to come into that office. Because coming to the office and reacting to the men in the office that they feel oppressed, there are two ways to this story, right? There are men that cannot stand women in power. They cannot believe a woman is their boss. They don't even want to be alive for a woman to be their boss. Those men, I do not blame them. Culture has told them that a woman cannot tell you what to do. Do you understand? Even if the woman knows better than you, religion has wired them that a woman should not sit down and a woman is standing over you. You understand? But this is partnership. This is not rulership. Leadership is not supposed to be rulership. It's partnership. Because even the person that is leading you doesn't know everything you know. But if these women deliver their roles in a particular way, it won't be as troublesome. It won't be as hell of a job. There are many women that are leading in Nigeria that many men want them to even lead. We have, I don't want to mention a lot of names, but we have many women leading in this country, and the ones that we see continually leading over time, people around them do not really feel oppressed. Why? Because power is peaceful. The real sense of power is love. All our religion will tell us the highest form of power is love. See, a woman is supposed to be the one to manage power, because she's supposed to be an epitome of love and peace. But rejection and unaddressed trauma have scarred her so much that when she's giving power, she's sitting on the head of people. And I will tell every woman out there, this is not the place. Power is not the place to air your grievances. You are shutting the door against another woman, because when you lead those men wrongly in that system, they will never want to see another woman lead them again.
All right, so let's talk about governance and gender issues. A lot of women tend to shy away from the conversations around governance. As a matter of contingency, most women would not even want to study political science except they crashed into the program.
Yeah.
They don't want to even study policy courses except they crashed into it. And the university imposed it on them because in the course of looking for admission, they just bumped into it, and we don't have a choice. We just have to align ourselves into this. When we have a situation of this magnitude, does it mean that Nigerian women are not ready for governance? That's why they are not interested even in studying policies. And even those that study policies tend to still shy away from even analyzing political matters and policies of government. Rather, they will finish from these universities and return back to shops, return to start looking for white-collar jobs and other kind of trade, as you have them. Are they shy from political conversations?
They don't want to face the heat of political conversations. You said something. Because they are shying away from it, it doesn't mean they're not ready. Because they are not ready, that's the reason they are shying away from it. Because they don't know they don't have the necessary knowledge of what. See, every human being is supposed to know the policy of the system you are in. For the fact that you don't even want to know, it means you are not even ready. So any woman that is, campaigning for leadership, yes, women should be in leadership. Women should be in this place. But you don't even know the policies that are coming out every day in the country. You're not ready. You're just talking. If you are given the mic, can you actually speak through it? No. You don't even know where Nigeria is at with policy making. You don't even know the gender equality policies that are happening in the National Assembly or in the Senate bloc. You don't even know what's happening in Nigeria. But when it comes to social media, they are all bantery and they look like they are ready. But many of them are not ready.
Quite interesting. I'm asking that question because of the number of children that we are giving birth to right now. Does it mean that we're sitting on time bomb? Because most of these children are close to their moms than even their dads, and they don't understand policies.
Yeah.
What is the future of Nigerian children when it has to do with policies?
See, I was speaking in an organization years ago, and they were asking me a question. Why does a Gen Z organization, so a Gen Z program, sorry, and they asked me a question. Why are the Gen Z angry? And my answer was, is what the mothers know that they pass to their children. Because the men do not spend so much time with their children. The women that spend so much time with their children are not knowledgeable enough to teach them what they need to know. So these children are angry, half knowledge, half baked. They cannot stand the system, but they are angry with the system. We see them, they ask for protest, they ask for war, but they are not trained to know that war is not good for a country. Protest is not good for the society. It destroys. But where did the problem start from? Their mothers were not trained. The generation before now did not train the women. They shut them down in the kitchen. And everybody felt like, oh, it's just okay. It's okay. But look at the results we are having now. Like you said, the next generation is going to be worse than this generation. They're going to be angry, vindictive, and a lot of every emotion. Why? The mother that's supposed to teach you emotional intelligence does not know it. The mother is also supposed to inspire you. So how will your mother inspire you to go into governance when she doesn't know anything about it? The highest mothers are taught to do is to pray and say, oh, I'm a Pekin, I dey pray for you. Don't worry, God will do. That's not all a human should offer. There's the power of knowledge. There's the place of information. You see, there's a very famous woman in Nigeria. She used to be chairman of one of the banks. She said something. She has boys. She said she taught her children financial intelligence just by with their how family stipends. And the child before 20-something was already investing in serious money. So when the child's age mates were spending money on luxury, the child was investing and buying shares and doing all other things. Do you understand? So these are things that are important because why? It is what is in the woman that she passes to the children. If there's nothing in the woman, there is extremely nothing to be passed to the children. So it's very important that women are empowered with knowledge.
All right, let's at this point go for a short break, and when we come back, the conversation will continue. Please stay with us.
This is Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN. We connect people, power stories, and amplify voices. On Rapid TV, we're rooted in culture and your window to the stories that matter. From news to lifestyle, we inform, entertain, and uplift. Join Rapid TV on Star Times Channel 176, Nigecomsat. On Rapid FM, we speak your language from the soulful airwaves of Umuahia to the vibrant culture of Port Harcourt and beyond. More than broadcasters, we're creators, amplifying that voice within with powerful content across TV, radio, and digital. Join us at rbnradiotv.com and all our social media handles. One network, one voice. Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN, the sound of your city, rooted in truth. Driven by impact.
My name is Zakir Sakidola.
Hey guys, this is Anto Lecky.
My name is Theo Bliss.
My name is Akava, go by the name Baba D.
And you're tuned into Rapid TV. I love Rapid TV.
Shout out.
Rapid TV.
Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV. This is
Rapid TV.
Rapid
TV.
Keep watching.
Keep it well down.
Leave it like that.
All right, welcome back. Now, before we went on that break, we were trying to look at some of the issues that are arising from women involvement in governance and leadership across the country, and how far we've been able to go with that, all of these rudiments that have played out across the country. But then let's even look at this conversation again from the angle of its implication to our national development, taking it from the angle knowing fully well that Nigeria right now is preparing for an election come 2027. And we're trying to look at all of these issues of gender inclusion, gender exclusion, and try to marry this and tie it up to the progress that we've made so far. And helping us to make sense is Lydia Jimmy, who has been helping us to put these issues in perspective. Now, let me come back to you and we'll look at all of these issues playing out so far. Women shying away from politics, women shying away from governance. The conversation tend to be that women knows how to rule their homes very well, but not entering a social contract theory. But we look at all of this right now. Can we say that in the evolution of our democratic process, we've been able to grow? Have we evolved? Looking at the numbers keep dwindling by the year. Are women learning anything when it has to do with leadership? Or we should just look the other way and turn a blind eye to all of this conversation?
I won't say we should look the other way and turn a blind eye to the conversation. 2019 was one of the worst years when it comes to women in politics or women in trying to enter governance, because we faced a lot of patriotic constraint from our male seniors that are already in power. There was little or no support from the men in leadership already. And we see tickets being thrown across the board, the women asking over time to step back and those drop tickets and every other thing. So it's not really easy for the women. I must say they are trying, they want to try, but like I said initially, there's no support. There's no, there's this thing that was happening in the National Assembly, this special seat reservation bill that they were trying to pass. Even that bill right now is facing a lot of setback. The bill was it not this year? They've been working on the bill. There have been a lot of sitting about it. There have been a lot of information that have been brought up. In fact, I was on one of the events that they had to organize in the House of Reps, right? Even with all these encouragement and everything, there's still a lot of resistance. I think it's a deeper work for the women, right? It's more than what we are doing in the surface. Women should be encouraged from their home base. They should be encouraged culturally. Every church, every pastor should encourage the women in their church. Every mosque should encourage the women in their gathering. Every gathering should encourage women. No matter it's going to affect us in the long run, because this goodness women brings to the home, the cycle of the home, they can bring it to the decision table.
All right. Since you've mentioned the National Assembly, which I was trying to run away from, it's already 6 months since Natasha Akpotu-Uduaghan was suspended, and of course she was trying to return back to the House, and of course she still met resistance. Trying to look at all of this, can we say that women there's gender imbalance in the governance as it stands right now, looking at our own story?
Well, looking at Senator Natasha's case, it's a very special case. So I won't want to deep dive into that case, because it's a special case in the entirety of itself, from the accusation to the denial to the international bodies involved in it to the press release by the lawyer from the UK. So we don't even know where the truth at. You understand? So whether you are supporting Senator Natasha or you are against Senator Natasha, or we are for the High Honorable Akpabio, it's a dicey matter. And that's a conversation I personally would not take a stand on public TV. Why? Because I don't have all the information necessary for it. And I would tell people, I say, when it comes to openly taking a stand on such matters, you must have the full information, the full brief to take a stand. But well, when it comes to coming back to power, the House should learn to forgive everybody. Well, not just because she's a woman, but because she's a person. Whatever she has done, right or wrong, whatever the terminology of the suspension is, I think it's time for the House to review whatever it is and make peace. Let's just let it go. It's one of all those political banters as far as I'm concerned. And we should let it go, and everybody should come back and just make the necessary decisions for the nation as they are supposed to do in the House.
Well, Uju Kennedy was the former Minister of Women Affairs, and she was removed from office. When you look at the way women have been treated so far in office, can we say that women have been given fair opportunities, fair hearing,
No.
even in governance in Nigeria?
No. Women are removed for the slightest mistake. If you remember very well, when I started the conversation, I said women should be given allowance for error. Why? Because men over the years have been given allowance for error, right? There are situations of some political leaders that there was one case in Abuja of a senator slapping somebody in a toy shop, and she wasn't suspended, it was not removed. There was just this case back and front, and before you know, the world made peace with it. And so we just specialize on highlighting the mistakes of women. These people are human beings. But if we want to be honest, let's put the errors the male leaders have done and the one the female leaders have done. You won't even see any difference. You just see their humanity. I don't see any difference with whether they stole money, whether they behaved wrongly. One, any woman in power is not your wife. She has an husband at home. So even in leadership, they are human beings. The same way we will not say, oh, because this person is a man, he should be removed from power. We should address this situation as an isolated case. Whatever he or she has done, okay, should he be suspended? It's a person. People should not be subjected to their gender. They should be subjected to whatever is on the table. So if somebody is removed because, he's a poorly behaved woman, that's a very common word you hear in the secular system. They go, she doesn't even know what she's doing. She's a poorly behaved woman. So it isolates the case that she's a woman because you just said it, right? But if you say it's a poorly behaved person, it's a different thing. But what the society will forgive a man for doing in power, a woman will not even do as much and she's out. So I don't think they are be given fair treatment. That's why I brought the idea of they should be first seen as human beings that should be given fair opportunity to make mistakes. Because like I said, they don't have a lot of support. They don't have a lot of mentorship. They don't have a lot of guidance. Even the men can come to guide these women. Men should love their mothers, their wives, their sisters, and their daughters enough to be kind to the next woman with them in politics. That's what I feel it should be.
All right, as we begin to wrap up, I will look at all of the involvement of women in politics so far in Nigeria. In a scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate the performance of women and gender inclusivity across board and delivery of mandate that has been assigned to both gender, which brings us back to the debate that we started with?
Well, I think some women are doing very well. Some women are doing very well. The likes of Obi Kwesile, Ngozi Iweala. Some women are doing exceptionally well. So I think that women should be given the opportunities to make mistakes, to lead, to be mentored, to make mistake again, to lead, and just the cycle. They should be given an opportunity over and over again. They should be given opportunities first to make mistakes. Because in Nigeria, the people that are put in ministerial positions, many of them, they don't even know anything about the ministerial position. Nigeria has gone, in fact, we are now a wonderful country that they give the position of doctors to lawyers, and, it just cuts across everywhere, But when you give this position, nobody complains, nobody cries, because we have learned to learn on the job, right? Women should be given the same hand of experience. They should be allowed to learn on the job, and men should find the love and forgiveness in their hearts to guide the next woman around them.
Well, Mrs. Lydia, sometimes I'm tempted to call you Dr. Lydia.
Voice 5.
I'm tempted to call you
Anyone?
Dr. Lydia. But then I know you're passionate about Gen Zs, and But then let's get you even leave a word for the Gen Zs that are even looking up to you and following up this conversation right now. What would be that one word to say to Gen Zs right now in order to get them even involved in governance in the country?
Well, I have a
Female
lot of-
Gen Zs to be particular,
Yeah.
the ones that people say they don't know how to boil waters. so let's even take it from there.
First, I will tell women or ladies of any age, take that risk. Don't be afraid of what the culture has told you, or what your pastor has told you, or what your imam have told you. If you have a dream and you feel the fire in your heart to take the risk of going into, hard or masculine spaces, go ahead. Take the risk, because let me tell you, for every risk you take, you've encouraged another woman to take the next step behind you. Take the risk and seek knowledge. Do you know that women are not encouraged to read books? Women are not encouraged. They their mothers tell them, "Oh, learn how to cook. Oh, this is how you want to come to your husband's house." Do you want? You barely hear their mothers. I don't think you ever hear their mothers say, "This is how you want to lead the country." Such casual statements are wirings. So let me be the first person to tell you on television, is this how you want to lead the country? The way you are behaving, the way you are making that decision you are making, is that how you want to lead the country? If you know in your heart that's not how you want to lead the country, begin to retrace your step and make every necessary step towards leading the country. Because whatever decision you make now in your life, no matter, even if you are Gen Alpha, Gen Z, no matter any decision you make, no matter how little it is, it will tell on your capacity to lead this country. So you cannot say, "Oh, now is the time for me to just live my life the way I want to live it," but then when it comes, it comes. It doesn't work like that. For every decision you make, for every foot you put on the ground, it's going to affect your capacity to lead. So acquire necessary knowledge. Seek mentorship. And I will plead with mentors. Anybody that has attained a particular capacity in life, male or female, please mentor a woman. Mentor a woman to become, to as much do what you have done with yourself. Mentor a woman. And so I will say to the Gen Zs, please, it's not about living the life, because the Gen Zs are wired to live the life. They like to spend their tomorrow on today, because the generation before, to them, it looks like they made a bad decision. I won't say the completely made a bad decision. Some of them made good decisions. So when people make mistake, you learn from their mistake and make better decisions in your life. But these Gen Zs are so angry. Most of them are vindictive, and they don't even know they are reacting to the way we millennials and bumper generations lived their lives. So they are like, "Oh, I don't want to live my life suffering. So for the nation that did not care about you, this is your nation. You don't have another one. Anywhere you go to in the world, you are a guest. When the nation is tired of you, they will exit you. If they give you a visa tomorrow and they discover that you are very, very black, they can throw you away. You understand? This is your home. No matter what you are doing with your life, have a plan to invest yourself in your home. And the best way to invest yourself in your home is to acquire the necessary capacity you will need to one day lead this country in any way or any fair. Thank you.
Well, what else can I say to this conversation? Well, I want to say thank you so much, Mrs. Lydia Jimmy, for finding out time to be with us here on Correro.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, this is how far we can go this evening. I know Gen Zs out there have been able to pick one or two that will help them build capacity even as they prepare to get into governance. Not just Gen Zs, but also women across board. Both male also can learn, pick lessons and pick one or two things from there. Well, my name is Godwin Sonny. Don't forget that you can follow us across all our social media platforms currently showing on your screen. And like I would always say, always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.